Cedros Island is a Mexican island in the Pacific Ocean. Geography: Cedros Island is located in Ensenada Municipality, off the west coast of the Mexican state of Baja California, from which it is separated by 100-kilometer-wide Sebastian Vizcaíno Bay. It is 22 kilometers northwest of Punta Eugenia in Malagueña Municipality, the westernmost point of the state of Baja California Sur mainland. It also lies 15 kilometers north of Isla Natividad, from which it is separated by the Canal de Quelo, and some 500 kilometers from San Diego. The island has an area of 348.295 square kilometers, being the fourth largest island in Mexico. It is part of the municipality of Ensenada. Between Cedros Island and Isla Natividad runs the 28th parallel north, which defines the border between the Mexican states of Baja California and Baja California Sur. The island San Benito, about 25 kilometers west and 3.899 square kilometers in area, are administratively part of Cedros Island. The island of Cedros was named by early Spanish explorers who mistakenly associated the larger amounts of redwood and cedar driftwood arriving with the California current for local pines visible on the crest of the island. Population and settlements. It constitutes one of the 24 subdivisions of the municipio of Ensenada. The 2005 census showed a total population of 1,350 persons. The borough seat is Cedros Town, on the southern east coast. Pueblo Cedros is largely associated with Pescadores Nacionales de Abilón, the lobster and abalone fishing cooperative based on the island. It was founded by fishermen in 1922. The second town is Puerto Morro Redondo, close to the southeastern point of the island, El Morro. It is a company town, built by the joint Mexican government and Mitsubishi Corporation to house the workers of the salt transshipment facility on the island. Salt from the salt evaporation ponds of Guerrero Negro on the Baja California Peninsula is taken by barge to a deepwater salt dock near Puerto Morro Redondo, at the south end of Cedros Island, where it is loaded onto ships for export. There is regularly scheduled air service to the island from Ensenada, departing every Monday and Wednesday, and landing at an airstrip at the south end, adjacent to the company town, while a 10 kilometers road leads to Pueblo Cedros. Open launch rides across the channel between Cedros and the mainland can also be arranged at the Abarrotes Ramales store in Bahia Tortugas, but travelers opting for this transport should be prepared to have a flexible schedule with several extra days in case of inclement weather conditions in the channel. The remaining settlements are smaller. Jerusalem is just west of El Morro, but on the western side of the airport, with regularly arranged residential units. It is frequently considered part of El Morro. Lomas Blancas, a mining town with 17 buildings, is located between Cedros Town and El Morro. San Agustin, a typical fishing village with about 20 buildings, is located 1 kilometer northeast of the southwestern point of the island. Cabo San Agustin, La Colorada, on the southern west coast, with about 10 buildings, is 4 kilometers north of San Agustin. Whale, 15 buildings on the western side of the southern bight. Bahia del Sur, is 3 kilometers northeast of San Agustin. The mining town of Punta Norte is located on the northern east coast, 3.5 kilometers southeast of the northern end of the island, which is also called Punta Norte. 2 kilometers to the southeast is Los Crestones Mine. List of settlements and locations. Cedros, 28.095972 degrees north, 115.186778 degrees west. 28.095972 -115.186778. Puerto Morro Redondo, 28.038500 degrees north, 115.186667 degrees west, 28.03850 -115.186667. Jerusalem, 28.0400 degrees north, 115.19139 degrees west, 28.0400 -115.19139. Lomas Blancas, 28.07889 degrees north, 115.18528 degrees west, 28.07889 -115.18528. San Agustin, 28.081833 degrees north, 115.339056 degrees west, 28.081833 -115.339056. La Colorada, 28.11700 degrees north, 115.351944 degrees west, 28.11700 -115.351944. Whale, 28.09278 degrees north, 115.31306 degrees west, 28.09278 -115.31306. Punta Norte, 28.35417 degrees north, 115.19417 degrees west, 28.35417 -115.19417. History. Pre-Columbian era Isla Cedros was home to some of the earliest occupants of the Pacific coast of North America, and its later indigenous inhabitants had developed the way of life finely attuned to the conditions of this arid but resource-rich island. They had probably reached an overall population around 1,000–1,200 inhabitants by the time of European contact. These native peoples possessed sophisticated maritime technology and watercraft and depended largely on ocean resources for their livelihood. These peoples were Cochimi speakers, related to the Native American tribes of Southern California, the Lower Colorado River, and western Arizona. Currently, archaeological research into the indigenous history of the island is being conducted by researchers from California State University, Northridge, and Oregon State University, under the direction of Dr. Matthew R. Desloriers. More than 70 archaeological sites have been identified, with several dating in excess of 10,000 years old. Spanish colonial period in 1539, when the Spanish expedition led by Francisco de Ulloa landed on the island. It encountered several villages with populations at each estimated in the hundreds. Finding it difficult to reach the remaining Indians on the island, the Jesuit missionaries practiced Indian reductions and brought them all to Mission San Ignacio Catacarmen, in San Ignacio on the Baja California mainland in 1732. Hunters seeking seals and sea otters worked out the island between 1790 and 1850. 20th-century gold and copper mining took place near Punta Norte, between 1890 and 1917. The fishing village and cannery at Puerto Cedros were established in 1920. The fishing cooperative was founded in 1943, and the deepwater salt dock at the south end of the island was built in 1966. The island was mapped in detail by Mexican and U.S. geologists during the 1970s. Natural history. Cedros Island is at most some 3 kilometers long in NS direction and 6.4 to 8 kilometers wide in the northern half. The southern end is some 17 kilometers wide in ANW direction. The island consists of a variety of sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous rocks, including part of an ophiolite complex and high-pressure, low-temperature blue schists. Most of the rocks are of Mesozoic age, though some late Cenozoic strata crop out near the town in the southeastern corner of the island. Its highest peak, Monte Cedros, has an elevation of 1,205 meters. Flora. The island is often shrouded in fog, so that some plants have adapted to receiving moisture from fog. The west side of the island is wind-swept and subject to heavy surf. Pacific hurricanes are not unusual. The lower elevations, in particular the south, receive very little rainfall, and desert vegetation prevails. At higher elevations and in the north, there are trees like Quercus cedrosensis, live oaks, California juniper, and Monterey pines. Vargas, or El Aguayo de Vargas, is the most important spring with a flow of 180 drums of 200 LTS or 55 US gal each 12 hours. Springs on the island are usually marked by groves of palm trees. Fauna. Large sea lion colonies are found on the rocks on the west side as well as the anchorage on the north end. There are feral goats on Cedros. Unlike on other islands in the region, they do not seem to have had a significant impact on the island ecosystem. This would be due to the fact that Cedros is on the continental shelf close to the coast and, at least temporarily, it must have been connected to the mainland during the last ice age when sea levels were lower than today. Then, and as a consequence of this, there are native to Cedros herbivores, which on one hand compete with the goat population for food and presumably have kept it from increasing beyond carrying capacity, and on the other hand forced the native plants to keep the defenses against herbivores. Unlike plants on mega-herbivoreless islands which tend to lack those defenses, fishing is plentiful around Cedros Island. California yellowtail, subspecies of yellowtail amberjack, are very plentiful at this island because yellowtail breed there. These fish like to live in the kelp beds of the island. Other fish, such as calico basin sheepshead, are also very plentiful at this island. Endemism. Cedros Island is home to a number of taxa that are endemic to or occur in very few places outside the island. These include animals: Cedros side-blotched lizard, Uta stans boreana consina, endemic. Cedros Island Bewix wren, Thriomanes bewickiceroensis, near endemic. Cedros Island mule deer, Odocoileus hemionus ceracensis, endemic. Cedros Island brush rabbit, Sylvilaga sparkmani ceracensis, endemic. Cedros Island cactus mouse, Peromyscus aramicus cedrosensis, endemic. Plants: Cryptanth maritima var. Cedrosensis, endemic. Dudleya cedrosensis, endemic. Dudleya pachyphytum, endemic. Eriogonym molly, endemic. Pharocactus chrysicanthus, endemic. Harfordia macroptera ssp, fruticosa, endemic. Leptodactylon viaci, endemic. Lotus cedrosensis, endemic. Mammillaria goodridgeae var. Goodridgeae, endemic. Mammillaria goodridgeae var. Recta spina, endemic. Mimulus stellatus, endemic. Monardella themifolia, endemic. Penstemon cedrosensis, endemic. Pinus radiata var. Binata, near endemic, possibly separable as var. SSP. Cedrosensis, and in this case endemic. Porophyllum cedrens, endemic. Quercus cedrosensis, near endemic. Rus integraphilia var. Cedrosensis, endemic. Salvia cedrosensis, endemic. Senecio cedrosensis, endemic. Verbacina haestata, endemic. Xylonagra arborea ssp. Arborea, endemic. In popular culture, the island is featured in the 2012 movie Act of Valor, in which U.S. Navy SEALs attack a terrorist training camp on the island.